Hi, I'm going to show you guys how to do your mountain string heart. In your kit, you're going to get, this is the one that's already done. So in your kit, you're going to get a board, you'll get a stencil, you're going to get a diagram for the mountains, string, some tape. These things are the hammer and these little tweezers are something that you could use at home. And you'll have some nails. And you'll have a paintbrush. So the first thing you're going to want to do is we're going to want to stencil our dream big. So this is a 3-part stencil. What we're wanting to do is take off the back, which is the grid, and we're going to stick it down onto the board. So you're just going to pull it back like this. And if there's any black that stays on there, on the white piece of paper, because sometimes it might stay from the centers of some letters, just push it back down and rub it down. This one worked fine. So you're going to line the dream big at the bottom of your piece of board, just like that. You're going to line it up on the bottom and the sides. You're going to give it a little rub like this, and then you're going to pull off the top piece, which is the transfer tape. And you might have to use your other hand. You might pull with one hand and use your other hand to hold the vinyl down. And if anything black comes off on the transfer tape, you want to turn it back down and rub it down so that nothing comes off onto the transfer tape. Just keep pulling that off. Just like that. Then you're just going to give this a little rub. Just like that. Now you're going to take your brush, and in this container is going to be decoupage, which is sort of like a glue, and it's going to seal your vinyl down. So you're just going to take a little dab in there, and you're just going to put it over top of your letters. You're just going to go up and down, and then you're going to go back this way. We just want to make sure that all this decoupage gets in those tiny grooves so that it seals the vinyl down, so we don't have any paint bleed. And then we're going to go this way. So we're going to give that about 5 minutes, and we're going to let that dry, and then once that is dry, we are going to paint it. So now that our decoupage is dry, we're going to apply the paint. Your paint will come in a little cup like this, container like this. So you're just going to dip your brush in just a little bit, and then you're going to wipe most of it off. And then you're just going to dab the letters, just like that. You will probably have to do 2 coats. You'll want to, the first one will look really messy. You want that to dry, and then you'll apply a second coat. You can see you don't need much paint, just a little bit. Less is, if you put too thick, then there's a good chance that your paint is going to run underneath the vinyl, and then it's not going to look very pretty. There, so now I've got that with 1 coat on. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to apply a second coat. So I applied my second coat, and now it's dry, so you want to make sure that it's good and dry before we're going to pull off the vinyl. And all you're going to do to pull off the vinyl is just grab a corner and pull it off, just like that. Now you can see that there's the B's and the A still have vinyl in the center. So if you have, well, I'm just going to use my nail, this nail here. You can just slightly go underneath the vinyl and pull it off. Stick the tip of the nail underneath a little bit and then grab it and pull it off. just like that. So now we're going to do the mountains. I'll just show you on this little graph. You're going to have numbers from 1 to 11 there, and plus you're going to have dots. And we're going to hammer the nails on those dots. And so you're going to have mountain 1, 2, and 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up the piece of paper on the very top and on the sides. And if you have some tape at home, it's best if you can tape the sides down so that it doesn't move around on you. So I'm just going to put a little dab of tape there and a little dab of tape there. And you're going to take your nails and you are going to hammer them on the dots. So just start by poking it in the dot and hammer it down about 1/4 inch and try and go straight so that they're up and down. And if you have tweezers or a small pair of pliers, I have bigger hands, so it's easier for me just to grab onto the nail with my pliers, whoops, or the tweezers here. And give it a little tap and hammer them down. And you're just going to go all across the numbers here and all of these dots and on the top of each mountain. Okay, so now we're going to string art the mountains. As you can see, each mountain has a number on it, 1, 2, and 3. And this is the string for the mountains too, and we have them numbered as 1, 3, and 2. So this is the string you'll use for mountain 2, mountain 3, and mountain 1. Now we're going to start off with mountain 2 first. So you can, it just has some tape on it, you can take it off. It's the one with the most string, so. There we go. Now we're going to start at the top of the mountain, and we're going to tie a knot. What I like to do is sort of tie a knot, start it in my hand, just like that, make a loop, and then just put it around the nail and tie a knot. And do that twice. Now you're going to work your way on the left. Now we're going to start off at 2 and we're going to go all the way to 3. Number 3, we're going to wrap our string around nail number 3, and we're going to do it on the left-hand side of the nail and come around on the right-hand side. So we're just going to wrap it, and then we're going to go back up to the top. And you always want to make sure that the nails that have the peak, if they're in that line, you want to make sure that your string is in between those nails. So you're going to wrap around the peak, the top one, and then you're going to go to 4 and wrap it around. Then you're going to go back onto the top and wrap it around number 5. And so on our first mountain, we're going to do that all the way up till number 9. Now when we get to the top of the peak, we're going to tie a knot. So what I do is I usually, and you can push your strings down a little bit to give you more room. I go around, hold my hand there, and put it through that last string. Grab that, and you want to make sure you're still keeping this nice and tight. And you can pull on it to make it tight. And then we're just going to do another knot. And we'll cut all those strings after. Oops. And wrap it around. Okay, now we're going to move over to mountain number 3. So we're just going to take the string off of 3 here. Oops. Let me get my string all tangled up. There we go. So we're going to tie a knot on the very top one. And do a double knot. And the same thing. Now we're going to wrap around from the top. We're going to go all the way to 6. And so we're going to be on top of the first mountain. Oops. And we want to make sure we're around that nail. And up to the peak. And then to number 7. And it's all in the instructions. Number 8. Well, I got a little mix up here. There we go. And then number 11 is our last one. And we're just going to tie a knot around there too. Okay, so now that we got all 3 of our mountains done, I'm just going to take a scissors and I'm just going to nip it kind of short. If you have hot glue, you can always glue those knots so they don't let go. Just going to nip them just like that. So now we have one more thing to do. Actually a couple things, but now we're going to make the peaks on the mountains. And that is with our string, our white string, and they are all the same size. So it doesn't matter which string you use for which mountain. So you're just going to grab a string and the same thing. What you're going to do is tie a knot on the very top. And you can double it so that it doesn't let go. And the same thing. Now you're just going to do these in the order of which they are. So we're going to start off at the top of the mountain, wrap around the first nail, go back up to the top, wrap around the second nail, up to the top, wrap around the third, wrap around the top, and then tie a knot. And I would do one more knot. There, and then we can cut those strings. And I'm just going to grab another string. And we're going to do the same for the mountain number 2 and mountain number 3. Wrap it around the first nail, the second nail, third nail, and fourth nail, and tie a knot. Okay, so now that we got all our peaks done, the last thing we have to do is remove the paper. So just take your tape off. And you're just going to kind of rip the paper off. Out. Oh, I knocked it out. Okay, well I guess I didn't have this nail nailed in quite hard enough. So we're just going to pound that in a little bit. So I guess we want to be careful we don't pull our nails out. So now that I got the paper all pulled out, there is your Mountain Dream Big sign. Thanks for watching.